The topic of today's podcast is financial planning for your children's education. And with regards to that, we have brought back Himanshu Bhai from FinTrust Investments to tell us or give us a roadmap of how to optimally prepare in advance for your children's education so that it's not too much pressure at the moment where you have to collect funds. So how best to achieve this is something that we'll be speaking of today. So let's start with our first question. So Himanshu bhai, please tell us about the basics of children's investment planning and what tools we have available or what plans does one have and how best to use them.
Yeah. So first of all, thank you so much for having me back. So in today's world, it is very important to actually plan for the child's education because the inflation in the education is higher than the routine inflation. So routine inflation would be in the range of 4 to 5%, but the education inflation is upward of 7 to 8%. Second thing, if you are planning your child to study abroad, so there the inflation is also there, you also need to encounter the currency. So for example, USD almost 1 year back was 80, 82, today it is 90. So there is an increase of 10% in a span of 1 year. So you also need to encounter all these things. So yes, definitely you need to plan well in advance for your child's education, especially if you want your child to study in a very premier institute in the world. So you actually need to plan ahead and earlier the better. So actually there is no right time, but yes, earlier the better. For example, if you delay the investment by almost 5 years, the amount will double. So if I need to invest 100 rupees when my child is born, if I start the planning when the child is 5, the amount is almost 200. So you need to prepare and counter all those things.
So the earlier you start, the better.
Correct.
So I'm sure we'll have a lot of viewers who will be seeing this when their child is 5. A lot who will see it early and make the most of it. So with regards to that, I hope you give us a couple of plans and roadmaps that we can follow, and we'll discuss that as we proceed. So let's move on to our next question. So how should you actually plan for a child's education and how much to invest and when to invest?
Okay, so so that actually depends on child to child, but yes, on a broad terms we will discuss, and I'll try to give you a broad perspective that how can you start and what all things you'll need. First, say you need to decide whether you want your child to study in India or abroad, because there is a huge difference in the cost. Just to give you the basic perspective, in US today, so even in US itself, if you are planning for a premier institute, the cost is $60,000-$70,000 per year. I'm just talking about the tuition fees. And if you are planning for a lower end college, it would be 20. So starting from 20 to 25,000 per year tuition fee, all the way it goes up to $60,000 to $65,000. So there is a first difference. If you take average of say $40,000 for the US or anywhere abroad education, the same cost in India for the graduation would be hardly 7 to 8 lakhs as a tuition fee, or 6 to 7 lakhs as a tuition fee. Inflation would remain same in India, say 8%. In US, we can consider that 5 to 6% would be the cost inflation in the fees. Plus, we also need to encounter the currency depreciation, which over a period of long period of time, it would be 2 to 3%. So there also we can assume that 8% would be the inflation even in US terms. So first, you need to decide whether you want your child to study in India or in abroad. Say to start with, let's say the parent is planning that their child will go abroad, and the fees. For a moment, let's assume that $40,000 is the average fee.
Right now, as of today.
Yeah, as on today. And plus, so this is just the tuition fee that we have encountered. Plus, child will be living there, so boarding and all the food, travel. So that again would be another $15,000 to $18,000 kind of fees. This again I am talking on the average side. If your child has always been a kind of higher society child, he definitely need more money. So in that case, you also need to encounter for the $25,000, $30,000 for the living, which we are encountering $15,000 to $18,000. So considering all this, the total cost would be somewhere around $50,000 to $55,000 or $50,000 to $60,000 per year. Graduation would be a 4-year course. So in this 4 years, it would almost be $200,000 to $225,000 kind of thing. If I convert this in today's INR terms, it would be 2 CR. But what we are planning is say 18 years down the line. If I am assuming that you are planning for the next 18 years, so the cost will increase from this 2 year to almost 8 CR. So it's almost 4 times than what the cost is today.
So that's how you
yes.
got
So
it.
yes. So we are assuming the 8% inflation, and which I think will likely be. So now to reach at this 8 CR target, what you need to or how much you need to invest today. In INR terms, if we assume, so Nifty index, the stock market index, as such has given 12 to 14% return in last 10 to 20 years. So let's consider the minimum 12% return that we should get. At that 12% return, you almost need to invest 1 to 1.10 lakhs per month. So
Per month.
Per month, yes. So almost 1 lakh worth of SIP you need to do for the graduation.
Got it.
Now, there are definitely when you are sending your child abroad, you wouldn't stop at graduation. You definitely like to do the post-graduation as well. So the cost for the post-graduation is even higher. So, say in a good institute, say today either Stanford or Harvard, so they'll charge somewhere around $130,000 for the yearly tuition fees. So if you again take that and you encounter that yes, $225,000 would be the 2-year course fees. So the in today's terms, the amount would remain same. That yes, 2 to 2.2 CR would be same. But this you need to add the another 4 years of graduation. So for graduation, the future cost was 8 CR, which increased from 2 CR to 8 CR. This will be almost 11 CR because you are doing another 2 years. So now, in that case, you will, but since you have 4 more years for the planning of investment, you will need a bit lesser amount for the investment. The investment amount would be almost 55,000 rupees a month, assuming the same thing that Nifty is giving 12%
Got
of return. So, in short, if you are planning to send your child abroad, and if you are taking the average kind of scenario, the plan that you need to do is almost 2 lakh rupees a month that you need to invest in your child's name every month.
From now?
From now. For next 18 years for the graduation and 22 years for the post-graduation. That is what we have encountered. So this is about the abroad scenario. You can have US or Europe, or you can say any scenario.
Is SIP the best mode to do this?
Yeah, so that is actually a best mode. So say what I gave you the figure is actually the SIP, which is today very popular, and the 1,10,000 rupees worth of SIP that you are doing, and over a period of 18 years, that amount will be 8 CR or 8.5 CR almost. And for the 90,000 that I am saying for the post-graduation, that again we are investing for the 22 years, and that would again be almost 10.5 to 11 CR. So in total, you would have the corpus of almost more than 19-20 CR for the graduation and post-graduation. For that, you need to do a SIP of 2 lakh rupees per month that you are doing for the next almost 18-20 years, assuming it is generating a return of 12% for us.
Got it. All right. And are there any specific government plans we know, but I don't think they yield
Yes.
as much as you would want for international education?
Correct.
So now that we've spoken about education abroad, now give us a little bit of how much financial planning, or in what manner and what numbers we have to invest monthly, like we spoke, for education in India.
Okay. So now for education in India, today the average graduation cost is almost 25 lakhs or 30 lakhs for a 4-year time period. Assume that it is 25 lakhs, and over a period of next 18 years, assuming the inflation, education inflation would remain 8%, that 25 lakhs will become 1 CR. So you need a cost inflation of 1 CR. So cost after this almost 18 years of time would be 1 CR for the 4-year graduation.
Okay.
And almost the same would remain for the higher education. So today it is 25 lakhs. Over the next 22 years, it would be 1.4 to 1.5 CR. So in total, if you are planning to study in India in a good institute, you at least need to make a provision of 2.5 CR. for your child for the graduation and post-graduation combined together. Now to achieve that figure, you almost need to do a SIP of 25,000 rupees per month, and that you can invest over a period of 18 to 22 years for the graduation and post-graduation both. And if it generates a return of 12% per annum, I think you'll be able to match the objective. Now, so even in overseas education or the Indian education, so say in education abroad, we discussed that if my child, when he or she turns 18, I need a figure of 8 CR and I need to invest a SIP of 1.10 lakhs. I need to do SIP of 1.10 lakhs. Now, say the child is today 5-year-old. Instead of just a first year, we have first taken into calculation. If the child is today 5 years old, I need to double that SIP amount. Instead of 1.10 lakhs per month, I had to invest it to 2.2 lakhs per month. So if you delay your financial planning or the education planning by 5 years, you need to double the amount.
Got it.
So that is the quantum that is there. So the earlier the better. So if you start early, the amount will be very less. The same is the scenario with India. So if today you are saying that your child is just born and you are planning, yes, the amount will be 25,000 for graduation and post-graduation. But if you delay it by just 5 years, it would be 45,000 to 50,000 per month. So it is easy to invest 25,000, but again, as in when the time passes, it will be very difficult for the parents to make
So I think that is why you should start planning for a children's education rather than later. As soon as the child is born, start checking that box and start planning. So now that we know
the amount,
how to invest and the amount that is to be invested, what are the different instruments that we have or that parents have to start planning for their education? Can you give us a list of those?
Yes. So almost all the investments that we are doing for ourselves, we can do it for the child, barring few. So according to me, the best investment would be to start with the SIP and for the amount that I said. Now, how can you divide that SIP? So I think 40% should be going to the flexi-cap funds, and you can choose the index fund for the child. So today is, that there are so many other options that keep popping on the social media, that these are the funds, these are the plans and all. So there are insurance policies available for the child's education. You can also open the Sukanya, so it will be for the girl child. You can do a PPF. There are mutual funds also who are specifically taking care of the children's education for the funds. So according to me, rather than doing for all those funds and all those things, we need to make it very simple. What do I mean by simple is invest 40% in a flexi cap, 20% in large cap, 20% in mid cap, and 20% small cap. For all these things, you need to choose the index fund. You can choose the index fund, but I think you should choose the index fund. Why? Because it's very easy to choose the index fund. In a flexi cap, you can take Nifty 500. For the large cap, you can take Nifty 100. Mid cap, you can take mid cap 150. And small cap, you can take small cap 250. So this fund over a period of time will continue to compound your money. These funds run on a very low expense. So for the active mutual fund, the expense will be high, but these funds it will be very low, and you are eliminating the risk of the choosing a fund. If the fund which you choose may or may not perform, don't know actually. For such a long period of time, index fund makes more sense than
What exactly is an index fund? For people to understand, for mothers who are watching this and might not be aware, what do you mean when you say index fund? So what exactly is an index fund? When you say index fund, we have a lot of mothers watching who might not be aware of the different funds that we have. And so can you explain what you mean when you say that?
Sure. So you might have heard of Sensex and Nifty.
Yes.
So Sensex is the combination of the 30 stocks, and Nifty is the Nifty 50. It is a combination of 50 stocks. So when you invest in a mutual fund manager tries to choose the stock which will outperform the index. So he, out of the universe of say 30, 50 or 100 stock, he tries to choose the stocks which he or she feels that would perform better than the other stocks. So that is an active mutual fund. When the fund manager chooses the stock from the index. In index fund, we are eliminating that risk. We are buying the stocks according to exactly as per the index. So if there is a Nifty 50 index, 50 stocks are available, there are different weightages. Say stock A has a 10% weightage, stock B has a 8% weightage. The index fund will exactly replicate the same. So there is no role of asset fund manager to choose the stock in the index fund, or it is very less. Second, so over a period of time, the index keeps growing. So if some company is not growing, the company will be out of the index. If some company is doing good, it will definitely be added in the index. So in that way, you are actually compounding your money. You are eliminating the risk of the fund manager's underperformance, and you don't need to redeem the funds and switch to a different fund, because all these things will also attract a tax. So when you are switching your funds, that will again reduce your capital. Rather than doing all these things, I suggest it is better that you choose the index fund and continue your SIP over a period of time. That will give you a better return. That is the first investment option. Second, as I told you, the insurance policies are there in the market. I somehow feel, or my experience is that the insurance policies are not delivered up to the mark. Second, liquidity is also not available. So, if your child today is say 2 or 3, if you need money when the child is 10, again, so there is no liquidity. Even if you need funds, you won't be able to withdraw if you are required. While in an SIP or in open index funds, any given point in time, you can withdraw the money. There are options like Sukanya Samriddhi. You can also open a child's PPF account. These are good options, very good options, but the return is less. Even today, Sukanya Samriddhi return rate of 2%, which is good. I am not saying it's bad, but compared to the index fund or the equity, it is less. Considering the other investment options, it is pretty good. PPF, it is again very less than what return the market will pay. From that perspective, for the 18-year time frame, you should go for the equity and the index fund. You can also buy stock. So, open a demat account in your child's name, buy stock in your name, and you can transfer the stocks in your child's demat account. But again, for that, do it only if you know the market, only if you know how to identify good companies. Don't do it unless you are actually an expert in the market.
But we could take advice from advisors.
You can take the advice, but yes, in that case also, if you actually feel that yes, the person is very good, and only then you should do it. Otherwise, SIP is a very plain and simple way for majority of the class that it will be able to match the objective for that they are planning.
So from my understanding of today, I think your primary suggestion is SIP in index funds.
Correct.
Is the way to go.
True.
And according to the number that you need or the corpus that you need and what your goals for your child are, be it international or Indian, plan according to that number and fix your monthly number that you need to start saving from now. This is the synapses of what we spoke about, right?
Yes. So I would like to add 2 to 3 things in that. So keep reviewing the portfolio, keep reviewing the fee structure almost 3 to 5 years, every 3 to 5 years, because the market scenario will change, the university fees. So for some years, the fees would escalate drastically, for some years it might not. For currency also the same thing. Like for example, in some phase the currency will be stable for 3-4 years, again it would be very volatile. So you also need to observe all such things. Every 3 to 5 years you need to evaluate. And you need to see that you are on a right track. Okay. Number 3, so another thing that whenever you are reaching your goal, say for example, I am doing the SIP for let's say 15 years. So at the end of 15 years, when you are reviewing your portfolio, you need to start switching funds from equity to debt. Because at the end of 18th year, if there is any eventuality, say COVID or something immediately came, the portfolio would go down drastically. So you need to plan almost 2 years ahead, and you start switching some portion to debt. So for the first year's fee, you need to switch it almost for 15 to 16 years. For second year, again next year. So all those things you need to switch to debt for the safety, so that that money is available with you and it is not affected by the market dynamics.
Okay. Got it. So that's a good advice. And last thing, so any other advice that parents should keep in mind for planning for their
So,
children's education?
yes, so I strongly feel that each and every parent should start doing this in financial planning for the child's higher education. Because as I told you, that today the cost is 2 CR. It will be 8 CR in the future. Today there are so many people who think that no, I have 2 CR, I can very well pay the fees. But if you are not able to, you don't know what will happen in life. If there is any bad phase in the life, you will not be able to accumulate the corpus of 8 CR after 18 years. Yes, probably you do have 2 CR, but you actually need to plan and put it this 2 CR in a way that the child will get the money when he or she needs. If your child is actually brilliant, your money should not come in the way that, yes, exactly.
Of their growth.
Absolutely, yes, absolutely. So that is what you need to plan as a children. That is our primary duty. Yes.
Agree. Alright. So I think that pretty much, so everything or every podcast that I do has come from my experience as a mother. And this is something that is really close to my heart, and we have conversations on this multiple times. And that is why I think so many other parents will find this equally interesting. And like I said, there are so many things that I took back from today also. The earlier you, that difference of 5 years and the amount you have to invest. So I hope many people see this even before they actually deliver a baby, or maybe they've just delivered a baby and take today's podcast seriously and start investing. And if they're starting late also, later better than 5 years from now, where that multiplies even more. So thank you for doing this again, and I think we've covered a very important topic, and I think the biggest duty that we as parents have, which is your child's education. And again, thanks again for doing this.
Thank you so much. I hope your viewers like it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.